Watch out for your sea scallops. Even though I've heard this very often, I've never actually tried it out until now. Today I'm making stingray. We'll be marinating this in a miso marinade and then smoking it in the smoker with this mixture of hickory and a little bit of mesquite to give it a nice Texas flair. Yeah! With stingray, I normally use this for shark bait. I've never actually used this for food. The meat itself is gonna be on the size of the wings, so we'll have a big slice right here, a big fillet right here, and we'll also have a big fillet right here. Stingrays are closely related to sharks, so they're gonna have very similar skin to it, so you wanna make sure to have a very sharp knife in order to work with it. Let's talk knives. Knives are a very important tool in the kitchen. Just like any good tool, each one has a very specific function and will make your life much easier when used correctly. Whenever we're filleting fish, we want to use a thin knife that's able to maneuver around the bone and the flesh so we don't leave as much flesh on the bone. The knives you want to stay away from for this are going to be the thick knives, such as chef knives. These are going to make it very difficult to maneuver around the bone. You're going to leave a lot of flesh left over. Whenever you're filleting a fish, you want to use the bone to guide your knife. This will ensure that not too much fish meat is left on the fish itself. Flip. One tip that I would get whenever I will go to seafood markets is to always watch out with the sea scallops. I've been fishing and cooking seafood my whole life. There's one rumor that I've heard very often, and that's to watch out for your sea scallops. The stingray meat will be cut to make it look like sea scallops, and they'll actually be sold as sea scallops. Even though I've heard this very often, I've never actually tried it out until now. Now off the back, I can tell you these do not look alike at all. The stingray does have some grooves on there, while the sea scallop has a little bit of grooves, but is definitely much more smooth. Aside from that, the color is different also. The sea scallops are more white as opposed to the sea scallop. They're almost more translucent. Now, even though they don't look alike, let's see how they taste. Even though they don't look alike, we're gonna say they taste the same with the best way I know, a blind taste. And just to make sure, lights. That's the table. Yep, I got something. It has a similar taste of scallop, but the texture is more of a flaky white fish. Now, that one was more of a scallop taste. The texture was different though. I gotta say, the flavor was very similar. The texture itself, not so much. I was able to tell that it was a stingray because of the texture. It was slightly more flaky, as opposed to the scallop, which is more dense, not as flaky at all. The flavor, scallop was definitely a better flavor, but the stingray was not too far behind. Look at that. Here's the back side of it. This does not smell fishy at all. It smells really nice and fresh. The last thing we gotta do is take off the skin. We'll be using the cutting board as a friend to remove the skin. We're gonna start off right here. We're gonna get that first slit going, and then we're gonna use the knife at a slight angle towards the board. That way we can remove the meat from the skin. Our stingray has some nice meat to it. We got some nice fillets out of them. We're gonna go ahead and get them marinated so we can start smoking them. I love contrast. Whenever I have sweet, I like spicy also. We'll be using a miso paste for a marinade. The miso paste is gonna be great because we'll be able to give a nice contrast of sweetness along with some spicy, provided by the Thai chilies, along with some more sweetness from honey and ginger. Oh man. That may have been the spiciest Thai chili I've ever had. I'm gonna wash my hands and I'll be good to go. With our stingray, we'll be using a miso marinade. We'll have some sweet accents along with some really spicy accents as well. The marinade is gonna have a nice contrast of sweet and spicy. We'll be using a traditional Mexican mortar and pestle. This is made from lava rock. The lava rock provides minerals to your food whenever you utilize it. I like using lime juice when we have sweet accents because limes are a bit sweeter. Let's make a marinade. We're done with this. We're gonna need some beer. A nice light lager will do really well. 3 heaping tablespoons of miso. There's white miso and red miso. For this dish, I like using white miso because it's a little bit lighter and complements the fish really well. We have some sweetness provided by honey. We want about 3 tablespoons of this. Rice vinegar. Some soy sauce. And of course, our ginger and chili sauce. We'll be bringing this slowly to a boil to bring out all the flavors, but also to evaporate the alcohol from the beer. Marinade has to be boiling for about 15 minutes, so it's ready to be turned off. There at the bottom of it. First piece of stingray, then there's some up on the top. Our second piece of stingray right there. Rest in the refrigerator for a couple of hours before we get it to smoke. I'll be using a charcoal smoker to smoke our stingray. This will ensure that we maintain a temperature and keep it low and slow. We used for the starter. We just want a little bit of charcoal preheated because we want it to go from the middle and burn out. We'll be using hickory wood chunks. Mesquite could have an overpowering flavor. We don't want it to be overpowering. We want it to be complementing to the fish. We're gonna get this at 250 degrees before we put our fish in. For our side dish, we're gonna have some broccolini, but I'm gonna give it a nice Asian flair by adding some chili crunch to it. Tably crunch and some olive oil. Get this nice and mixed up. That way the flavors get all over the broccoli. And now for our dirty rice. Now this won't be a true dirty rice because this will be an Asian inspired one, so we'll make it kind of like a fried rice. We'll be rendering the bacon fat by cooking at a very low heat. Throw everything in there. Cheese. Then some capers. For fried rices in general, you want to use old rice. It's kind of stale. My newborn's crying. All right, let's put our stingray in to smoke. Hey, that is beautiful. Look at those.
What
The crispy ends are good for sure.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. It tastes like smoked chicken.
Smoked chicken?
Pulls apart very stringy,
Yeah.
like pork almost.
I was very surprised how good the stingray tasted. Even though the flavor was similar to scallops, the texture was way off. So I wouldn't worry about being tricked. When I first came on to Liver King Chef, we cooked a lot of crazy proteins. Some was for shtick, but honestly, I love cooking this type of food. It gets you out of your comfort zone, and it gets you to cook new things to make you and your family that much more happy. And that's the goal of this channel. I'm Chef Lionel Flo. If you like this video and want to see more going forward, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button below. Until then, I can't wait to cook for y'all.